Right now, it's a very gloomy day here in Virginia, so what better thing to do than to look at guitars I can't quite afford right now. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Cole Townsend, and I make videos about guitars. Today's video, I'm going to be looking at some Telecasters. This is definitely the next thing on my chopping block of guitars I need to add to my little collection here, and I think a Telecaster is next. However, I do have pretty specific tastes. So today, I'm going to be showing you some Telecasters that catch my eye. So right now, I have 6 Telecasters pulled up. But before I start, I want to let you guys know what I'm looking for. I don't like new Telecasters. Now, I don't necessarily mean their age. What I mean is I don't like Telecasters that don't look like they've been played. They look too fresh. So like this guitar here, nothing against anyone selling this guitar, anyone who likes this guitar, of course, anything like that, that's totally cool. But for me, it doesn't speak to me just because it looks too new, looks too fresh, doesn't look like it has any kind of story to it. It just doesn't speak to me at all. However, something like this, which is the first guitar in the little lineup I'm showing you guys, like this 52 reissue, this thing has been beat up, it's been played. I believe it's been relic. Yep, it's been relic, which is cool with me. We could talk a little bit more about relics later. But I think this guitar is perfect, to be honest. I could care less about the color. I could care less about, or couldn't care less about the color. Couldn't really care less about what kind of fretboard is on it and whatnot. But I want a Telecaster that's beat up and that has normal pickup layout. I don't really care for, humbuckers in the bridge or anything like that. This is a Telecaster to me. And just scrolling through the pictures here, you could tell it's been beat up, it's been played, regardless of the relic. It's a custom shop, of course, which means you're going to get a good quality instrument, and this guitar is beautiful. I mean, and also that's a cool case too. But look at this thing. This is what a Telecaster is to me. Again, nothing really against this Telecaster here, it's not the same. But I do have a couple of options here. As I mentioned, I don't really mind a relic instrument. It doesn't bother me at all. However, I definitely do understand the argument that most people say that you should be the one to put that wear and tear on your guitar, which makes total sense. Every scar you put in the guitar is another story that guitar carries with it. But also, it's just a guitar. I don't really see any problems with relics. I think I'd prefer to have a guitar that happened to be played over a course of many years, where it has those stories to it and has that soul, that mojo, but I also just don't mind either way. And one of the problems with that is it's really hard to find a Telecaster, or pretty much any guitar, that's been played that much and gives you that look without it being very expensive because of the vintage factor. Now here's an example. This Telecaster here is from 1968. It is so rad. I love how beat up it is. It's perfect. Love this guitar here. However, it's a little bit outside my price range. I don't exactly have an exact budget, but I think this would probably be topping over it a little bit, and that also just doesn't take away from the fact that this is a very cool guitar. I love how relic it is. It's perfect, other than the fact that it's just a little bit too expensive, and I don't know, I can't really see myself forking out that much money for a Telecaster right now. Down the line, absolutely. I could definitely see myself buying a guitar like this, just not yet. I don't think I quite like it enough whenever there is things that are about half the price to me that look just as cool, and this is probably a better instrument anyways because it's a custom shop and it's newer. However, this is another guitar I'm going to be saving to my watch list just because I do like it a lot, and I think if I keep seeing it in my feed and whatnot, I end up falling in love with it, maybe it would be worth saving up for. That's a big thing about life, is never rule out too many things because of price. I think if you really like something, you would probably be willing to set aside your budget to be able just to save up for longer. I mean, if your budget's $500 and it takes you 6 weeks to get $500, however long it takes. Well, if you want a $1,200 guitar, just do the same thing but for longer, and you'll eventually be able to afford it. It's crazy how saving money works, but a lot of people don't understand it. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, this also kind of shows how little I care about, what Telecaster I get. This one's made in Mexico. Doesn't bother me. But it has that little bit of wear right there. I think that's like a chunk out of the wood, which doesn't really bother me. I think that'll turn into more, something more the longer you play it. The paint's probably gonna chip away because there's no clear coat and whatnot. But this one is absolutely within my price range. Even though it is made in Mexico, which, again, doesn't really bother me too much. I think I'd prefer a made in USA or made in Japan or something like that, custom shop level guitar. But if it's not, that's no big deal. This is another guitar that's it's a simple Telecaster. It has a little bit of wear and tear to it, and I love that. It definitely doesn't have quite as much as these other ones I've been showing you, but something is still better than nothing, at least to me. I still like it a lot better than this one, even though this one is objectively a better guitar, because it's, it's made in USA, it's got those extra, the extra build quality to it, rather than this made in Mexico one, which is still really cool to me. Again, I'd rather have this one. And then going back to guitars that I definitely can't afford right now, this is another 1960s Telecaster that is just, again, so beautiful. As you can tell, I definitely have taste, and like I said, the relic factor is something that speaks to me very much when it comes to these guitars, and if they don't have it, it just doesn't speak to me. I've seen very few Telecasters that are new looking that speak to me. And if they are, they're usually the ones, I can't remember what they're called, but they have, maybe it's the custom? This isn't the exact model I was talking about, but something like this does speak to me. It's got the binding, it kind of reminds me of a Gibson just because it has a little bit more of that flair to it because of the binding and whatnot. But this is an exception. I think I'd still rather have an older, beat up Telecaster rather than something that's new like this one. Even though this one does speak to me a little bit. I do like it a lot, and I think maybe eventually I could own something like this. I think just right now, with the funds I have, I'd rather have something that speaks to me more, if that makes sense. This is another guitar that's just so close. Very close to being, you know, the perfect guitar for me. I think it's a gorgeous guitar, but I don't like the fact that it has a middle pickup. I get that's the point of the Nashville Telecasters. However, it just doesn't ring it for me. I think a Telecaster should be a Telecaster, and I don't think messing with these models too much speaks to me very much. It's cool if you liked it. I mean, that's totally cool, but for me, if it's not the 2 single coils with the lipstick in the neck, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And lastly, we have another custom shop relic here. Again, very beautiful. Nothing too crazy from what we've seen so far, but just another gorgeous guitar. Now let me show you a tip on how I'm able to find some of these guitars. Like I mentioned, it's pretty hard to find guitars that have that wear and tear to them without being very expensive. So what I've been doing is I look for Fender Telecaster in this case. I'll click search. Then what I'll do is I'll go to all filters and I'll sort by the condition. If I go to fair condition, which is definitely a lot lower quality, not quality, but lower condition, obviously, than all those other ones. And this is where I found some of these guitars here. Even though these ones are relic, it still has that beat-up factor to them. And sometimes you'll be able to find some of those guitars that have that beat-up and played factor to them, those player-grade instruments. Oh, the Richie Kotzen model. This is another really cool one. This is, you know, off the script, but, oh, that's a very, very pretty guitar. But right now, there's not really much up here that is very beat up that's not a custom shop level guitar, which is why it's very important to keep checking reverb, and maybe something will pop up eventually. But yeah, I think that just about wraps it up for this video. If you guys have a Telecaster that you think I would like, even if you don't, shoot me a message on my Instagram, send me a DM. It's the Instagram is in my description below. Just shoot me a DM. Show me the guitar. Hey, maybe I'll buy it. Who knows? But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, feel free to click like. If you loved it, feel free to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.